Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video we're going to go over the character review for Yeon Yirang. As usual, I'm going to go over the following points. I'm going to talk about how good this unit is, her skills, exclusive equipment, gear, ignition weapon, rapport, and revolution, and finally we're also going to see some showcases of battles that I did in the past days, just to see how she performs in general. So, regarding the first point, how good this unit is, I will say she is really strong. The thing is, I was expecting more in the damage compartment because, she's a family head. Okay, she's the flashback version when the great families were first founded. So, she's still not probably super crazy strong, but still probably one of the strongest units we should have in game. Other than probably Urek is probably stronger than this version of Yirang, but that doesn't matter. Uh, like, she's supposedly the strongest wave controller in the tower at the current moment, so she cannot be a weak DPS. And I wasn't expecting her to deal more damage than Kaiser in most scenarios, because Kaiser, whoever designed her kit was just high, probably, I don't know. Really insane multipliers and increases debuffs on the enemies, really crazy. She got nothing of it, so kind of weird. And also the revolution was kind of lacking. I don't know. Damage wise, not the best, and she really needs a shit ton of investment to actually deal something. So before then, I would say she can be played easily as just a crowd controller. Her special move is insane. But yeah, I wouldn't rely on her to be a damage dealer unless you're willing to go all in. And in that case, there are still many units you cannot really kill, but that's kind of normal, I would say. And yeah, we're going to go over those details also later on. So this is more or less the thing for how good this unit is. I will say she can be used at no dupes even. And if you want her to do damage, be prepared to really invest a shit ton of resources. At which point, she will do okay. I cannot tell you she's going to destroy the enemies, because there are going to be times where she really cannot, but that's normal, I would say, by looking at the way her kit is designed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Awesome unit, crazy crowd control, damage against certain comps is insane, against others pretty lacking, so that's okay. Now if we look at the skills, we can just start with the passive. That is not too bad, but also in this case there is a detail that's kind of lacking to me, but okay. Whenever she's involved in an enemy elimination, she's going to absorb the life flame, whatever, and recover energy by 200 and increase the attack by 80% for 10 seconds. Now these 10 seconds is kind of annoying to me, because it's not like you can really kill enemies that frequently. It's okay, like it seems like she's designed to burst down the enemies in one go, like kill, reset the petal, kill again, and try to burst everyone in those 10 seconds. But if you fail to do so, you will have no attack increase. This attack increase is kind of weak from my point of view, but it does work at times, so it's still okay. And here the maximum number of stacks are 3. Pretty interesting. It will work on summoned beings, doesn't need to be an actual enemy. Let's say if you're against Gustang, whenever he summons a bot, is going to give you these stacks, which is also one of the reasons why Gustang is really weak against Yirang. I don't know if you are going to see that, because I don't remember if the videos I'm planning on showing you actually have Gustang as an enemy, but Gustang is really easy to deal with Yirang, which is a huge plus. So yeah, this is pretty much the passive, and when she's skilled, if she had more than 500 energy, she's going to cast a special move, which is also pretty nice. So yeah, overall the passive is okay. Could have been better, but it's okay. Now the first active skill is in theory the core of the damage of this unit, she's going to send 2 petal flames at up to 5 enemies. So if there are 5 enemies all together, this is going to be 10 petals. These petals have an AoE explosion, and they're going to deal 400% attack as damage each, and also stun the enemies for 3 seconds, but that's okay. So these multipliers are more or less like the base version of Viol's bangs, but Viol, when he's in the special move, they get upgraded to like 620, but he only fires 5. She fires 10 of them, only if there are 5 enemies. If the enemies are like 2, she's only going to fire 4, which is disappointing. I would have preferred if she said like, you're going to fire 10 petals and distribute them evenly across all enemies, something like that. That would have been OP. But this is just okay if you are lucky and you can burst them down with the first kill, awesome. But starting from the second and third one, it's going to be a bit weak damage wise. So I don't know how to feel about this exactly. Still a good skill, and it will prove useful a lot of times. And this skill is also boosted by Revolution, but we're going to look at that later. Then we have the second active skill, Blaze. This one is going to do an AoE explosion, and also will create explosion in 5 random spots, dealing 400% attack as damage and stunning enemies for 2 seconds. That location where the explosion occurred is also going to leave an heated zone that deals 400% of attack as damage every second for 5 seconds. This is going to be improved kind of by the exclusive equipment. Is going to increase the number of spots by 2, which is a total of 7. Now this skill is a bit RNG, but still is kind of fine, because looking at the interaction with the special move, some of the times you are going to hit those random spots. Again, could have been like targeted below the 5 enemies or something like that. Totally random is a bit shitty, but I guess it's fine. Is a bit disappointing for real, but okay. Then we look at the special move. This is really, really strong. So she's going to concentrate for 3 seconds while having status effect immunity, and then she's going to summon a flame vortex that deals 200% of attack as damage every second for 6 seconds. Pretty low multiplier, 1200%. It's okay. Jolts the target and pulls the enemies towards the center of the vortex. This jolting is annoying, obviously because of enemies like Urek. Against everyone else is fine. It's just Urek that gets healed with jolts, and this 200% is too low of damage, so you're just going to spam heal him, which is really annoying, but okay. And then the vortex explodes at the end, dealing 200% of attack as damage and stunning targets for 2 seconds. I don't know why the final hit had to be the same as the other ticks. So this is 1400. Should have been like 1000% or something to give the final burst. I don't know why they went for this low of a number. But it's okay. The special move seems not to be meant to be dealing damage. So yeah, the main damage skill is going to be this pedal torrent. That's it. And also this one if you're lucky, but mainly this one. So you can already see why the damage on this unit is pretty disappointing. Now let's have a look at the exclusive equipment first. And this one is also extremely disappointing from my point of view, but okay. The number of flames created by Blaze increases by 1 with level 1 effect. With level 2 effect increased by an additional 1, so it takes it to 7. Wow. Really troll in my opinion, but okay. Level 3 is probably the only good one. Petal Torrent's explosion damage factor increases by 30%, which to me means 400. 30% of 400 is 120 or something like that. So it's going to take it up to 520. This is good if it's like that. If it's a 30% coefficient, which it doesn't say coefficient, it says damage factor. So I'm expecting really a 30% increase in damage, which is good, but still kinda weird. I don't know. I don't like this skill too much due to the fact that when enemies are low in numbers, you're going to lose out on a ton of damage. But still, it's kind of okay. Then we have level 4, Petal Torrents always lands. This one is not that needed because we have high accuracy, but I guess there are enemies like a Shiliel, it's a hard, or somebody else that has high evasion, and they could dodge your hits. With this one they cannot, which is good, but again, I was expecting more, to be honest. So yeah, that was the exclusive equipment. Now if we look at the gear, I will say it's the usual stuff. You want to go for crit rate and crit damage if you are building her to be a DPS. Otherwise, just focus on slot 4 and you will be fine for tankiness, and then give her a resistance set. But we're going to talk about that in a second, that we're going to talk about the ignition weapon. So I would say either priority slot 2 or slot 5, depending on which one of the two builds you're kind of trying to run. Accuracy only needed if you really don't have enough accuracy, but as an example, I have a lot more than the enemy evasion. We can also have a look at it later, but now with the archive, accuracy is not as important, and since I'm poor for like in terms of coins, I'm avoiding upgrading anything that doesn't need to be upgraded. This is extremely expensive. I don't have the resources for it. So yeah, I would say slot 2 and slot 4 are the two most important pieces. Slot 1 is the third most important one, and the one with accuracy and evasion is kind of meh, so you can also forget about it. Now, in terms of ignition weapons, I will say we have a couple of ways. Let me just move also the page here a little bit to go over the ignition weapons. First, if you want to go damage, then L Magic Pierce so far seems to be the best option. Idea doesn't matter because you really are going to spam the special move anyway. Don't worry about it. I would say L is the best option. The second option that I'm going to share here is Sela, and the reason why I'm saying that is because if you don't care about her doing damage, you only want to use her as a kind of sub DPS slash utility unit to crowd control the enemies, then it's perfectly fine to go Sela and go resistances, as I wrote here in the notes, so that she's just going to survive and cast this special move over and over again, making it easier for your other DPS to destroy the enemies. So that's the main idea, I would say, guys. Really nothing much here. In terms of main stat, as I said, if you want to go damage, crit damage increase slot 4, magic pierce slot 5, otherwise just go resistances and you'll be totally fine. In terms of which pieces to prioritize, since the mandatory tier is 0 dupes, I don't recommend leveling up the attack one because you don't really care about the damage. Only level up slot 4 and slot 5 with resistances, and the other 3 can wait, pretty much. That's the idea. So yeah, that's it for the ignition weapon. Now if we go over the report, I will say obviously level 4 is the bare minimum, but in her case, since she kind of wants to hit her skills, you also want to go for this accuracy. Not needed if yours is way higher than the enemy, so you can chill out a bit and not necessarily upgrade it immediately, but definitely a good one to upgrade. Now for Revolution, which is also an important part, we have for Revolution 4 increase Petal Torrent's magic pierce by 30%. This is nice for like damage wise, since if you want to build her, like if you arrive at this point, you're going to build her damage, otherwise you're not orange 4, so you cannot even unlock it. If you unlock this at this point, I would say go for a damage build, and you will be running magic pierce slot 5. This 30% will come in handy. It will be okay boost. And then the Revolution 5 is just becomes invincible while focused, which is good, even though most of the times if you're running her as a DPS, you will have Evan and Bam most likely, and they're going to uh, like keep her safe already with the perma invincibility from Evan, kind of. So is nice, just not that important, I would say. Now, for the subnodes, Affected is a bit important because she has a lot of crowd controls, but you don't really need to overinvest. Uh, I just threw some points in just in case. Accuracy, again, if you have higher accuracy than the enemies, don't even level this up. Just throw in some points when you actually need to. Swiftness, I would say 20 out of 20 is totally fine. Crit rate, you should go for the minimum amount that will let you go over 100%. Attack, great node. I would say this is probably one of the first you want to level if you reach this point. Like let's say the first three are like cheap enough, affected, accuracy, and swiftness. At the beginning, I would only focus on swiftness, to be honest. And you can just level it up to 10, 15, doesn't really matter. You don't need to take it to 20. Then the next point, the next substat you want to focus on, subnode, sorry, is, in my opinion, attack percentage. Pretty good increase. Then you want to go for crit rate until you hit 100%, which in my case took 16 levels. Afterwards, I would go with crit damage increase for sure. It's going to boost your damage quite a bit because now you're perma critting, so this is all additional damage. Then for the last one, I would go max cooldown reduction. And that's about it. This one is a bit more of a trap because, as we saw before, the main damage is supposed to be this Petal Torrent skill, not the special move. So the special move Pierce, I went 20 out of 20 because I'm stupid, but you don't really need to. You can even leave it at 0 and it will be fine. But that's kind of up to you, okay? So yeah, that's more or less the idea also for the Revolution. And I would say we can just have a look at some fights. Just let me check some of the previous one. Because now I was trying out Evan Kell in some weird compositions, so that's okay. Let's just go to a previous fight with more of a normal one. I would say this one should be fine. Yes, in this fight she managed to like deal quite a bit of damage. The enemy team was not that difficult. To be honest, like the enemies were pretty standard, so nothing really hard to fight. We had Anniversary Iwa Revolution 5, but as we see here, Yirang took no damage, so in fact she was not really helpful at all. Let's just have a look at how this fight went. And yeah, let's just have a look. Then we'll see a few more just in case. I should have slowed it down. Yes, already. Perfect. Okay. Everyone here doing their things. Here we're removing energy from the enemy. That's insane. Now you see the special move is pulling all of them together. And then the Petal Torrent just killed 4 of them. And then with the second cast, the second one died as well. So the Torrent actually deals a lot of damage, but against certain enemies. If the enemies are not like Urek, Ghost, Edan is a bit problematic with his domain. Not gonna lie, is going to destroy you. So in that scenario, Anniversary Iwa is really helpful with the Revolution 5. If you don't have that, you have to rely on Evan and Bam combo to keep her immortal and alive. So that's kind of the idea. Now let's have a look at another fight here that I had to use Bam and Evan, so we can also look this scenario here. And here we can see again, she didn't take any damage. We have Edan that dealt quite a bit of damage as well, so she still did most of it, but Adan also came into play. The enemy team is again a kind of a weak one. Nothing really special. The only annoying unit is Child Yuri, but she's not a problem for Yirang. And I will say Data Mashini is also like really weak against Yirang. So Yirang can easily be used for Data Mashini and is going to be super, super insane. Here, both Evan and Bam didn't have ignition weapons. That's why they died. Now we see here the Blaze kind of was lucky because we had one exactly at the center, so they also took damage from it. I didn't really catch the petal skill, but now she's pulling them all together. Still no petals. So you see the main damage is a skill. She's not even casting that much. This was a petal skill. Two of them died. Then she cast it again. She almost killed another one. And yeah, then the last one was kind of killed by Eden. So also the like order at which she casts skills is not that optimized from my point of view. I don't know if it is the 30% cooldown reduction that kind of messed it up or whatever, I don't know, but still damage wise is okay. As you can see, the crowd control is really, really insane. That's probably the most like the craziest crowd control we have in game. So for that alone, she deserves the S tier from my point of view. And when you go damage, she definitely goes up to S plus tier because she's super comparable to the other DPS we have. Just I was expecting more. That's always the thing I will mention. Now she's also strong against unit like Anniversary Iwa, which is really annoying to deal with. So in general, like she has a lot of matchups that are good for her. But I will say like Adan, Urek, and some like Tank and Dorsey, Tank Hats are probably the most difficult encounters that she can have. They're not many, but they are pretty annoying when you encounter them. Everything else is fine, kind of. And Gustang is a super easy fight for Yirang and stuff like that. So definitely helpful. Just be careful if you're having issues with Urek and the other units I just mentioned. She's not going to be the answer to those problems. Unless your deficit is really low, then she can also kill Urek. But as you saw from the kit, she has so much crowd control that really she's just going to heal him up. And here we just see the combination of grouping and Mashini. These two together, really insane. She will just group all the enemies together and then we have Mashini that's going to delete them. So this was just to show you guys also this kind of combination. But that obviously requires an invested Mashini. Also works fine with units like Oakian and stuff, but yeah, it was just an example. Now let me check if there, I think there was another one or a couple. This one is another where she did more damage than Mashini. In this fight, Evan is not a problem, but we have this Tank and Dorsey. Tank and Dorsey is crazy tanky, but in this fight I think she kind of exploded. So we'll see what happened. Really, that unit is insane. Really tanks too much. But okay, let's have a look. And also here I have Karaka without ignition weapon, as we can see. But it's okay, it doesn't matter. The Blaze skill at the end of the day is fine if you see an explosion in the middle because they are all going to swerve there, so it's fine. And the Petal skill plus Mashini auto attacks just burst them all down. So it's still valuable. It's just a bit RNG at a certain point, but it's good. It's good for sure. Then we have 8612. And let's have a look. Where did I use her? Here. So again, another Bam Evan. A bit. I tried to go more with the usual yellow team kind of team, let's say. And also try to use units that are not too expensive. Here, my Data Machine dealt a lot of damage, but doesn't really matter. You could have used her as a stall tank, and that's it. or even use tank hats, works perfectly fine. Evan and Bam also didn't have ignition weapons in this fight, but we were lucky and had Evan could cast a special move. She's still kinda sleeping, no special move so far. She's also frozen by the enemy Jinsung, still no special move. She casts the petals with enemies all around, so pretty annoying. Now they're all grouped up and there are no petals, because yeah, why not? Still, in that condition, she still managed to deal a lot of damage. Probably the blaze explosions were a bit lucky, as we saw there against Kurdan, so the damage was still there. But yeah. I don't know, this is kind of the gameplay. I will say crowd control alone is absolutely insane. Like, she is going to keep all the enemies grouped up at the center of the fight, protecting at the same time herself and your potential backline. Super, super useful, and also helping those units that have AoE damage to burst down the enemies. So all in all, this unit is great. I would just say it's too expensive to go damage, so guys, just pull her, one copy, nothing more, and play her with Sela resistances. That's going to be perfectly viable. She's just going to group, she's going to deal shit damage. She's not going to deal any damage at all, but that's fine. You will use like a compress rack. I don't really know how an Iwa would work with her, the yellow one, because I'm not so sure she will have enough damage to help, but definitely possible. So yeah, my recommendation is just go for no dupes and just give her resistances and make her survive. She will be useful at the very least with that. So yeah, that was pretty much it, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this unit in the comments down below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!